Sensationally silver, because you are.
Welcome, everyone, to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age, people who are going to bring you information, inspiration, and validation. Join us. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind. Usually, this is conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age. But today, I'm the one that's going to be talking, and my daughter's going to visit us too, because our subject is how to be really, truly, sensationally silver. And many of you who've been following this podcast, you know that we're sponsored by our wonderful hair care products, Sensationally Silver. It's a 3-part package that is made specifically for naturally gray and white hair. But this isn't just a commercial. This is about how to make the most of your hair and your appearance when you have this hair, when we're at that point in life where this is what we've got on top. We've got gray, which isn't much fun, or we've got silver. So let's talk about how to be sensationally silver. The first thing you need to understand, and I guess most people get this, the reason our hair is gray or white is because it's lost pigment. But what does that mean specifically? It means that the hair shaft is hollow in the middle where the pigment used to be. That's disappeared. And that changes the quality of the hair. In some ways, it makes it very strong, especially if we've been coloring our hair, which is often so damaging to hair. Color-treated hair is naturally damaged. That's what makes it able to absorb the color that's put on. You have to soften it up and make it weak, and then here comes the color. So without doing that, hair is stronger. But without pigment, it's vulnerable to yellowing from the sun, from chemicals that are in the water, chemicals that are in the atmosphere. So it needs some help. And what usually happens is that yellowing, in some way or other, it looks a little tarnished, it looks a little flat, it looks dull. And that's what our products address. So just for a moment, I'm going to talk about that we have 2 shampoos, a toning shampoo, which has that purple tone that gets rid of the yellow. Magical thing, the way color works. When we look at it, yellow is erased by purple or blue. So that takes that yellow out. But if you use nothing but purple shampoo, you're going to end up with slightly purple hair. And I know people are coloring their hair on top of gray with some blues and some purples and some pinks, and that's all fine. But in general, we don't want to be a little old blue-haired man or woman. We want to have that be an option, that we have silver, and then if we want to add to that, that's our business. So we have this balancing shampoo, which we use when it's getting a little too blue, a little too purple. And that takes care of that for a while, and then we come back. And I'll just tell you what I do. My hair is different from yours. It's different from everybody else's. But when my hair gets to the point where I'm really happy with it, I use a little of the balancing shampoo and a little of the toning shampoo together, and that's what I put on my hair. And it tends to keep me right where I want to be. It's always good to have somebody else give you feedback. Go out in the sun, have somebody say, what's my hair doing? You ask them and let them tell you, what's my hair doing? Is it getting yellow? My daughter does this for me all the time. So I need that feedback because it's hard to evaluate our own hair, especially from some angles that we can't see. All right, that's enough of that. So we've lost the pigment. What are the implications of losing pigment for the rest of us, for the rest of our body and our face, especially our face? When we lose pigment in our hair, we lose pigment in our face. It gets more pale. This is why when you see someone who's had dark hair, say in high school or college, and they're still coloring their hair that same dark shade at our age, they look a little vampire-y often. It's because their face has gotten paler. And when they have that dark hair, there's a contrast that doesn't look natural. It looks unhealthy. So for me, I would rather look good than look younger. I know that gray hair and white hair are aging. We connect those in our mind with age. I do look older with my hair gray, but I look so much better. And I'd rather look better, as I said, than look younger. That's what I want. So if you're interested in that and you're still coloring your hair, you might think about the fact that chances are nature knows exactly what she's doing. And when your hair is the color it would be naturally at this time of life, it's going to go with your skin better. So now I'm going to talk about how hard it is to make that decision. For some people, it wasn't for me. I went gray at 40. I welcomed it. I wanted to know that I had enough gray hair for it to look good, because if you don't have enough, it looks kind of, I don't know, not that attractive. My daughter says it looks like you can't afford to get your hair done by your hairdresser. And that's not a look we're after either. But I had enough. So when I let my hair grow out, I was very salt and pepper. And then, of course, as time went by, it got whiter and whiter. My hair started going gray at 17. I found my first gray hair at 17. So it was going on for a long time. I was trying to cover it up, blend it in, do all these things. And for a while that worked fine. And then it began to look very brassy because of what I was doing to color it. And that's often one of the motivations we have when we are coloring our hair. Is our hair starts taking on a reddish or a brassy tint that doesn't do much for our complexion. Okay, so my daughter now has gray hair. It wasn't easy for her. She did not welcome it. Piper, come on board and tell people what it was like for you and why you chose to go gray, sort of in spite of yourself.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good to be here. Thanks, Mom. Well, yeah, I started coloring my hair, I think in my 30s, and I did it for, until this happened. And I was on a meeting. We were having a meeting for our products on Zoom with some advertising people. And one of the women, she was not on camera, by the way, but she said to me, I see you don't use your products. And I kind of went, oh, she's right. So that was the first thing that was a bit of a nudge for me to start going gray. And then my brother, whose opinion I regard very highly, said to me, yeah, your dark hair is kind of harsh. So there were these two things that really affected me and made me decide, okay, I can do this. And we were in the middle of pandemic, so I wasn't going anywhere. So it was kind of a good time to decide to do this, but it was really scary. I was not looking forward to it. I was newly single and I thought, oh, great, I'll never have another date again ever in my life. And, that I haven't had a lot, but that hasn't been true. Anyway, so I decided to start letting my hair grow out and it was not fun. But because I have short hair, it was a lot easier. My hairdresser was able to work with me and kind of blend it in, and it wasn't as painful as I think it could be if I had had long hair like I used to have when I was younger. So it was a challenging decision to make. I did not welcome it, but now I like the way it looks. I know I don't look younger, but I, like my mom said, I look better. This works better with my skin tone. It's fun. I get compliments on my hair all the time. And that didn't used to happen when it was dark. It was, I mean, it was striking when I had it dark because I had it colored very dark, but it wasn't as interesting and it didn't look as good with my skin tone. So yeah.
And I remember when Piper was letting her hair grow out, people would ask her, have you colored your hair? Did you do that? Did you make it look like that? They thought the transition period was fascinating. She had a lot of people make those compliments. They liked it. And of course, she was just enduring this process of letting it grow out. But it was interesting. And I would agree it was because her hair was short. It made it very edgy while it was growing out. So, Piper, now, how do you feel about your gray hair?
I like it now. It's still, sometimes I'll catch my reflection and I'll go, "Oh my gosh," because it's a lot. It's so different from how I used to look. But I know that it works better for my skin tone. I mean, and I don't want to look harsh, like you were talking. I don't want to look like a vampire. And that was starting to happen. It was getting the contrast was a bit too much. So yeah, I like it now. It's fun.
Yeah, so there's a testimonial, everybody, about, one person's transition. And I know Piper investigated a lot online and other places with people who were going through that, because I think for many women, especially through that COVID period, lots of people were going gray, and it wasn't easy. I wouldn't say most of the people welcomed it like I did. I knew it was going to be so much easier, and it is. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier. And my hair's so much healthier. And I think you can tell my daughter's hair is really healthy too. She's got terrific hair. Okay, so that's about going gray. But I also want to say that I wouldn't encourage anybody to go gray who didn't want to. We have to want it. We have to at least have some kind of investment in it, whether we think we're going to look better, or we don't want the trouble, or it's costing too much, or we hate those gray roots that show, or whatever it is. There's got to be a good reason to just do it. If you don't want to, it's going to make you uncomfortable. So it's up to you.
The money that I'm saving by not having to go to the salon and have my hair colored is quite substantial. So that's a good thing. And to not have to sit there and smell the chemicals and all that. So yeah, it's so much easier. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a relief. So that's our pitch for going gray. If you choose to, only if you choose to. But if you are, here's some things you need to know about how to make the most of your appearance. This podcast is about feeling and being truly sensationally silver. And the way that happens is it's a combination of the inside and the outside. I don't know about you, but I can't feel my best if I don't feel like I look my best. And sometimes that means some effort. And as we get older, it seems to be easier and easier not to make the effort, whether it's to exercise or eat properly or really pay attention to our appearance. However, this is what we've got. We've got this package, we've got this life. And to me, we owe it to ourselves to do the very best we can for ourselves. Stand up straight and tall, look as well as we can, pay attention to our grooming, and then we feel proud of who we are. And sometimes that's not easy as we get older, because in general, we are often ignored by younger people. They're either ignoring us because we're invisible to them, or they condescend to us, which isn't very flattering either. So this is an inside job. We've got to feel good from the inside out and from the outside in. That's the way I see it. All right, so some tips, okay? One of the things that I believe, and none of you have to agree with me about this, I think shorter hair is better when your hair is gray or white. Long gray hair is not something that appeals to me. If you've got long hair and you're not about to let go of it and you're thinking, well, the heck with her, I love my long hair. All I would say is make sure you've got a terrific haircut and that you keep it really looking good. Keep it in a style, not just flying all over the place, because that does look a little untidy and like you're not caring about how you look. So I think with gray hair, with white hair, it's even more necessary to pay attention to the styling, the look that you're carrying. Okay? And as I said, you don't have to agree with me. It's just one of my ideas. But haircuts are important. They're really important. A good hairdresser is, as every one of you know, that person is worth their weight in gold or in silver, sterling silver. That's more appropriate. Okay, how about makeup? We need some help as we get older to look our best, most of us. And yet we can't pile it on heavier and heavier as we get older, trying to cover everything up. There's got to be a subtlety to what we do with our makeup. For instance, eyeliner. For young girls, the liquid eyeliner is fun. You know, they can use their face as a palette. They can play with it, or a canvas, I guess I should say. They can play with it and experiment, and it's all fun. But as we get older, that liquid eyeliner in black is really harsh. I line my eyes, but I do it with eyeshadow because it's softer and I can smudge it. And that is important as we get older, to just keep things delicate and subtle instead of screaming with, we don't want it to say makeup, makeup. We want it to say, oh, how lovely. You know, the subtle effect of the light and the shadow. And it's always a good idea to emphasize our eyes because that's important as we get older. Those eyes are still going to be bright and full of life, and they deserve to be paid attention to. I personally love Carol Jackson's work. Her book, Color Me Beautiful, I think was revolutionary. But I also know that it's not easy to figure out what palette you are. Most of you who are my age, you were familiar with this in the 80s. People were getting their colors done. I used to have this show up at the station in Santa Barbara, and there was a woman who was my guest, Cynthia Thomas, and she was really good. And she did my colors for me. She did the whole family. My daughter is a winter, I'm a summer, and black is not one of the colors that is recommended for summers like I am. It's a little strong, although there's something about that little black dress that is usually stunning no matter what your coloration is. However, my daughter could wear nothing but black and look the best all the time because she's a winter and she can handle those very strong colors. And just another little story, I tried to help someone with her colors. I didn't do a very good job. And I was really trying. We had the color swatches, we did everything, and I couldn't figure it out. And it was Carol Jackson's book, again, that helped me to figure out what her palette was. This girl was mostly Greek, and her colors, her skin tone and all, was virtually identical to Sophia Loren's, who is a fall. Now, I would never have thought someone who's Italian would be a fall, but she is. And her color, her eye color, her skin color, everything was like this woman I was trying to help. And sure enough, that's what she was. But it wasn't easy for me. So if you're going to get your colors down, if you haven't already, find someone who really knows what they're doing. You cannot combine the seasons. You can't just borrow from this and borrow from that and still look your best. My son is so handsome. And when he puts on beige, he looks awful. It's just so bad for him because he's a summer like I am. And that's, oh my gosh, I look horrible in beige too. So, all right, that's enough of that. But I recommend her book if you can find somebody to help you find your palette in it. Because what it does is it works with our skin tone. And our skin tone becomes more and more important as we get older. It doesn't change, but the intensity of it does dim somewhat. And it's harder to look our best when we get older. We need everything going for us that we can possibly draw in. So having the correct palette is really working in our favor. One of the things that should be avoided if you have gray or silver hair is metallic fabrics. Okay, so Piper's going to do a little demonstration here while I'm not going to talk because she won't be on the screen. You talk about it, Piper. Go ahead.
I've got this scarf on and it's got some sequins and some silvery things in it. So sparkly, right? Which I think it looks fine. I think it looks nice. But you can see a difference when I take this off and put on one of my bright colors, which is great for a winter. You can see the difference. This makes everything kind of pop and look better.
Right, right. What happens is those metallic fabrics, they overwhelm our hair and our hair goes flat. And the last thing you want when you have silver hair is for it to not look silver. You don't want it to look gray. You want it to sparkle, but it can't compete with that artificial metallic fabric that's so shiny. So it just fades and that's what shows. But when she puts that pink on, you can see the sparkle in her hair. That's what we're after, okay? So avoid really all glittery fabrics. Gold isn't as bad as silver. Silver really knocks your hair into gray. But gold and anything too shiny is going to diminish the sparkle of your hair. And that's the great thing about gray and white hair. Because that hair shaft is empty, it reflects light like a mirror. How lovely. So that's what we want to enhance. We get rid of the yellow with the toning shampoo and we let that light just sparkle off of our hair. No other hair shines and glitters like gray hair when it's healthy and when it's not dulled by yellow. It's the best. And like Piper, nobody ever stopped me on the street and said, "Oh my God, I love your brown hair." But they do it all the time with my gray hair, with my white hair. And that's really fun. I love it. I'm so proud of my white hair. We want to show you our products so you'll know how wonderful they are. And you can't do better for your gray hair, for your white hair, than Sensationally Silver because they're fabulous products. I researched this. I found some extremely expensive and very, very high quality shampoos, took them to my chemist and said, I want my shampoos to be this good, but for gray hair, for white hair with toning. And he looked at the label, he read the ingredients, and he said, I'll make them better. And he did. So we've got these wonderful products. It only needs a little bit. You don't have to have a big handful of shampoo, just a little bit, and you'll get this wonderful, wonderful shampoo, and your hair will be the best it can possibly be. So I invite you to do what you can to sparkle and shimmer and be so proud of yourself and so proud of this crown of silver that you get to wear at this point in life. Thank you so much for being with us today. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, is sponsored by Sensationally Silver, a complete hair care product line created especially for people with hair like ours, naturally gray and white hair. Sensationally Silver products can be found exclusively at sensationallysilver.com.
Sensationally silver, because you are.